All right, there we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the live stream. Market opens in about 3 minutes, and I'm just going to poke around here for a little bit, and then we'll get started with the market trading day. Fun stuff. Get my tabs set up here. Check out some IBD stuff. See what our distribution day count is. Looks like Apple warned on coronavirus. And nice gap down from 325 to about 310. And we're up to 317. Kind of in the middle there. NASDAQ down about 0.5%. Hey, what's up, Rob? Let's check those out, Rob. Hexo. Quite a bit of volume. Could take a flyer on that one. It's down pretty far from 8 to 150 without seeing more about it. Not quite above a 50-day moving average, though. And then Roku. Yeah. So bad stuff happened on Friday. I owned two options, held one through earnings, and ended up selling it basically where I sold my other one for. It's called a gap and crap. And I can see why. You can probably see why it's called that. Basically, it gaps up and then just dies all day long. Just ends up dying. I gave it opportunities, which I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have just taken out Tesla. What's going on with Tesla? 841. Oh, okay. Up 5%. Yeah, trying to break out of this little range I see. Yeah, since the consolidation, it's really been acting nice. It hasn't really gone anywhere. Nothing terrible's happened. Really only had like two lower days. Everything else has been I guess that's a lower day, but yeah, not today up 841. I mean, in all honesty, and this is what we talked about before the run, this thing fundamentally, economically, for the next 10 years, there's no stock like it. There's none. If Elon's delivered every promise he's ever said, except for when it comes to time, and I mean, come on, man. It's crazy. Gonna be a great story stock, that's for sure. And we've already seen a big run. The way this is setting up, I mean, in theory, we could continue and go higher. I mean, and the way the market's behaving right now, I can't necessarily pick. Oh, another one, Space. Damn, up to 32 now. This is another one this is Virgin Galactic. This has been flying under our radar for the past month for some reason, and it's up at $30 today. It started the year out here at 12. So I don't know. I'm waiting for a way to get into space. That's Virgin Galactic with space tourism. The next wave of the economy, I really feel, is this alternative mode of transportation, and space travel's all transportation. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting going forward here. D-Dog, huh? Let's check about D-Dog. INMD's up 8%. Okay. That's not too bad. We'll see how it goes, Rob. D-Dog's been an interesting one. It's been able to stay above its IPO base, which is what this red line, this is your breakout from the IPO base. Able to stay above, just hasn't really extended at all. Let's go from the top down here. Space. I want to buy some of that. Just waiting for a base of some kind. INMD today looking like it's gapping up on earnings. Okay. So this could be buyable this morning right now, INMD. Tesla, maybe buyable coming back up over the percentages are crazy, and they've been crazy. So this is almost trading like an altcoin right now. Restoration Hardware trying to get back with it, and there we go, gapping up into recent highs from this first stage base out of this large consolidation. So there you go, first stage base. and that is a buyable situation for Restoration Hardware. Um, it is really early. Obviously, it's only 2 minutes into the trading day, and so we don't have a good sense of where volume is going to be. But um, if we have good volume, this is a great buying opportunity. Ping looking pretty good too. Also, not sure if that's a first stage base or not. There's your IPO base, and yeah, definitely a first stage base right here for Ping. One, two, three, four, five. This is a flat base. It's still in the base, but about 28 is your, or 28.11 is your technical breakout point. You can see yesterday we came all the way back down on elevated volume. We'll see how that one goes. JD continuing, looking pretty nice. Try to get out of a small consolidation. Beyond Meat, it's been pretty interesting lately, and today looks like it's trying to get back up above that little channel range there. RNG, fairly parabolic. Carvana, Domino's Pizza, been straight up the past couple of days and not stopping today either. What the hell? Oh, what just happened? Hold on a second. Oh, Tay. Yeah, so Domino's going right here too. Trying to break our long-term trend line right now. We haven't really had massively high volume days. Well, here's a good chance to look at it right there. But we are moving up, slightly elevated volume average, which is pretty good. And that's a decent little rally. We don't get that a lot. Even over here, we were a little more subdued, had a couple of big breakouts. This is just continuous buying for Domino's. So this one looks pretty good. I don't really think I have a trade going on for this one at this stage of the game, though. So, morning, Eli. San Roku bouncing back a little bit. Octa, Fortinet, Procter and Gamble. How's my EVR doing? Just hanging out still. Nothing good, nothing bad. Market only 0.25%, pretty much right where it opened. Yeah, INMD up 10% today. This one getting going again on earnings, which I'm not sure if 46 is good or bad. They don't give estimated or anything. Yeah, Tesla up 5%. I'm not jumping on board. It's just too, I'm just not there yet. I don't really see it completely in the chart. It's a nice move up, but Tesla's got, yeah, I don't know. Valuation remains on Mars. That douchebag's trying to get a headline. Raises target to 290. Woohoo! Weirdo. So forget all that noise. Yeah, don't worry about that. Carvana's not in a bad spot. We have a nice little pop up here. A couple of 5-day pocket pivots in a row, and then a nice little consolidation, volume declining. And this morning, okay, so this high volume candle is yesterday or Friday. This high volume candle's today. That is a pretty good. Oh, well, that's a big volume candle. Again, after hours, these settlements, man. These settlements. Carvana's not in a horrible place. I don't mind the curl up here. Looks like breaking a very small trend line here. It may not be completely fully formed yet, but it's an opportunity there possibly. Maybe an entry-level position. And I do like Restoration Hardware this morning. Bouncing up. I think I tried getting a... I didn't save anything on RH. Let me check. So this is your traditional, this is a very traditional IBD base. So this is a breakout day, so you can expect potentially a 20% move. It's only up about 2%. Restoration Hardware broke early over here, going back September, yeah, September. And so 20% from your buy point, about 244.55, about 295. Yeah, about 295 for Restoration Hardware. Question is, how fast is it going to get there? Yeah, see, going to May is only 82%. That's not too great. That's why it's not on my list. Space, though, this guy right here, this is what I want to jump on. Look at Virgin Galactic. Pretty much been flat at $10 for years. And I did a little bit of looking around. Not a tremendous amount, though. But I don't know why it bubbled down, then rocketed. It's probably just some FUD stuff by trading firms, but I don't know. But yeah, space race is heating up. And we could be in one of those situations. See, this is such a tough one, man. Like, you look at Tesla, you've got that loosely in the back of your head. That's just human nature. And then you look at something like Virgin Galactic, and you're like, oh, talk about the next frontier is space. But it's been the next frontier for 50 years. So it's kind of difficult to really jump on the bandwagon. But if Virgin Galactic is going to start doing operations, which they said they were going to try to get it going by summertime, you may actually start to see some earnings out of Virgin Galactic. And this is the only publicly traded space company, really. So it's got a monopoly from the market, and it's had a massive run. Still going through it from what it looks like. Rob's been driving. SQ's looking fine. We actually haven't looked at it yet. Look at that, just a beautiful run. I've still got my SQ position. I haven't lowered it. Thought about adding to it. And my option is out here good to this yellow line, which is out to June. Looks like late June. Earnings coming up. Very tiny cup and handle here. And just nice. SQ is nice. I'm just holding on to that. Really, it's not doing anything wrong. Still above the 10-day moving average. Hard to argue with something above the 10-day moving average. And it's been up above most of the time. Had a small bubble, but it hasn't closed underneath it since it broke out from this earlier consolidation here. So yeah, it's just doing good. Let's see what's not working today. Maybe some undercut and rallies. AVGO. Micron down a little bit today. AMBA. So we mentioned AMBA well, I don't. Did I do any shows last week? It's been a while. My wife was sick. I had to take the kids to school and stuff, and it was all over the place last week. But Amba broke out of this cup and handle. We did talk about this. Broke out of the cup and handle in good fashion in a very, very tiny pullback here. I think this is loosely buyable from a technical perspective. I'm not so keen on the earnings. I don't know much about it, but we broke out from not even quite an early buy point. We're up 14.5% in 2 days, which is phenomenal. From the actual buy point, got up as high as 10%. Now we're coming back in 7.5%. So like I said, loosely buyable. You usually don't want to buy out 5% from a breakout point. This is a little pullback though, and volume did get pretty dry. You can see right there we go from double average volume, double plus, almost triple average volume to, 2/3 of average volume. So volume drying up really quickly, which is nice, means they're not selling it off in mass. And the pullback hasn't been substantial either. So I think AMBA could be possibility for a buy in these areas. iRobot. We talked about this one a while ago. Actually, if you look at the weekly, we have a long-term trend line here and bouncing off of that long-term trend line. But you get these stocks like this, it's hard to know exactly when they're going to bounce back. The last time iRobot was down on this trend line, it was down for about 6 months or so and then got going another 6 months later. So we've had to hold this thing for a very extended period of time. Then it had a beautiful move from 40 up to like 110. But, you would have had to hold that for like 2 years. Who's got time for that? Ain't nobody got time for that. Light up. Match.com. We're still going from the bottom up right now. TRN. Melly. Melly's down, but it's an all-time highs. That's a weird dichotomy right there. GNC. EPAM looks like it's slightly basing, getting ready for the next large jump up. Oh, earnings are coming up. 220. That's in 2 days. Maybe that's the catalyst. Polaris, PII. Okay. Very long-term turnaround play there if that ever gets going. Basing since 2014. Good memories, 2014. Snap. Pulling back into the base. Not quite an undercut and rally. Just with NVIDIA, yeah, let's look at some of those big names. Apple just warned and gapped down a little bit. We'll see if that's coming back or not. PayPal, cup basing itself into a new high, 123. Not necessarily breakout volume. So we'll see what happens there. Unfortunately, I think Square is loosely tied to that, but that also brings us to Visa. Let's look at Visa, which is everywhere you want to be, breaking out of its little consolidation here from that nice little parabolic move up. Nice consolidation, high volume bottom right there, and it just keeps moving up. So if you want Visa, get Visa. It's not out of any buy range. It's buyable. And if you look at Visa from a yearly perspective, this thing doesn't effing pull back. And it just doesn't pull back. Same with MasterCard. Visa and MasterCard have the same damn chart. And it makes sense because they basically have a duopoly on payment systems in the United States. And most of the globe, from what I understand. Okay, NVIDIA. Yes, so NVIDIA is back to all-time highs. It's been a long time coming. We dropped back in late 2018, stayed down there most of 2019, and started coming back since like October. Yeah, about October, November. And now we're back at the highs. I would not be buying up here. Oh, you guys out? Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Love you.
Oh, you had Cheetos and cookies.
Grandma gave them to me. I promise. Right here. Right here. Right here. What are you doing? You gotta go. I love you. Bye, cakes. Yeah, so NVIDIA up here, I don't know, it's a little bit of a gamble. Could continue straight through. It's kind of a fairly odd occurrence, but, I mean, this market is on fire, so or I should say on a Fed fire. So there's NVIDIA. We're going to look at the big boys. Let's start with the big boy, Apple. Gapping down a little bit this morning on coronavirus news. I don't think that was unexpected. Let's go look at the news. I'm not even sure if I fully understand it. Kramer says, I'm surprised Apple's not down more. Critics are starting to give up. That's a fun one. I can't say it's a bit, coronavirus is a big surprise, and it's so strange. Berkshire Hathaway trims Apple stake? They don't trim anything. Hmm. Berkshire Hathaway made new investments in Kroger and Biogen. We've been looking at Biogen. It's interesting they're looking at that too. That's funny. Oh, I guess they trimmed a bunch. Okay, I guess they're a little more active than I thought. Um, you can almost view any gap down in Apple as a buying opportunity until the market situation changes. Microsoft, basically parabolic at this stage. Imagine if Bill Gates still owned his 25% of his fortune in Microsoft. Only 5% of his fortune is in Microsoft right now. He'd be freaking stupid rich. Amazon, which is above, still that gap, hopefully will never be filled. Hope this gap never gets filled. That's the hope here. But pulling back a little bit here for the past week. Some good volume this morning, it looks like. Decent volume. We've had bigger, it looks like. So Amazon with a little pullback, probably buyable on this pullback as long as the markets are stable. Amazon, Apple, did we do Microsoft already? We did. We talked about Bill Gates. Netflix, which is a long-term turnaround play, going straight through its trend line here. I do not have a Netflix position. I don't even have one saved, oddly enough. And another Domino's price alert. I had one Domino's price alert yesterday, like in the middle here, because I think I put it here. I'm surprised they're not on my chart. They're usually annotated on the chart, which is strange, but a little bit of stalling up here at the trend line for Domino's. Let's go back to Netflix. So this is a long-term turnaround play. I like to get these for very extended periods of time. I had some people try to explain to me how leaps suck, and I'm like, I don't just see your logic. Your logic is flawed. You just have you don't do what I do, so you don't see what I see. And when you're looking at stocks that have been, this isn't really flat because it's got a pretty big range from 247 up to 400, so it's not very flat. But the volatility tends to get reduced, and so those leap options aren't very bad. But Netflix is looking up here towards the 500, so 490. You don't want to get too greedy. Leave it a little bit under, like we did with Tesla. Talked about 950 sell. So 490, and it puts us about 89% profit on Netflix, which is not very good. There has been a lot of volatility, and I think that's accounted for in the price there. Now we're also up extended from here, so I guess I can't be too mad at it. It's a 28% move. That's about right. About a threefold increase in the spot move. Roku coming down this morning, if I can catch it. There we go. So Roku turning around, there was a little green for a minute, but I bailed on my Roku yesterday on the failure from earnings gap. Nothing else to do. It was a good sell. I ended up crapping a bunch more after I sold it. All right, let's go back to the top here of Actionable. It's space, the final frontier. I don't know. This is so parabolic right now. I really don't want to jump on. I'm almost FOMOing a little bit, to be honest with you, but Yeah, I won't buy it. But earnings coming up 225. It's just super high. I'd like another. I wish I would have bought off of this base right here. Really wish I would have bought off that base in space. I didn't even look at it. D-Dog's fine right so far, yeah. So yesterday we had, this is an interesting candle. So it's after earnings, a little bit of a gap down, but we held our own, and now we're up today. So your stop technically, Rob, should be probably under the earnings candle. It's going to be wide though because D-Dog's an IPO and a fairly volatile name at that lately. You're looking at about a 7% bounce or drop to a stop loss, which is pretty deep. ZM, which one's that one? Nice flag, yeah. Not too bad. Earnings coming up on 3/4, so you got a few weeks there. What is this thing? Oh, okay, Rob. Yeah, I think you're good then. Going back to D-Dog for a second. You're up 5%. Yeah, so your stop's pretty manageable. Yeah, you got a pretty good stop there. You, like I said, you can probably put your stop under the low of Friday a little bit. I wouldn't be too mad down there. Maybe the 44 level, slightly under the 44 level, in case someone just hits that level on the nose and then decides to bounce it. But yeah, so far so good. As long as we can maintain lows, you can see here the whole theme of D-Dog is maintaining lows, which is good. So you got a nice spike low. Great entry, very good job. ZM, is that Zillow or something? Let me look at FinViz. Zoom Video. Never mind. Zoom Video, 24 billion market cap. Okay. So a little volatile since its IPO. Um, yeah, nice little bull flag. Not quite a base, but a little pause, pulling back to the 10-day moving average, and then bouncing off of that. Yeah, it could still be a buyable range right there. Your stop's going to be a little bit wide at this stage of the game, though. Your good stop's down here about 10.2%. That's going to make a smaller position size, but it's not too bad. The price chart looks pretty good. Beyond Meat. All right, extending up this morning out of this. Pretty nice. Beyond Meat has had declining volume. We haven't had an increasing volume day. So far, volume is pretty good this morning on Beyond Meat. So maybe there's a possibility that we're going to continue moving up, try to break this trend line right there. We get over this high right here, and we could just be off to the races of 123.50. 120 or 123.10 is the high. So that could be our resistance, but we have higher lows. So we could have started the next leg with earnings coming up on 227. A lot of things fundamentally I don't like about Beyond Meat, though, just to be honest with you. They're talking about like sales declining in stores. If you look at the news here, just top level stuff. Or no, yeah, Burger King says that their Beyond Meat burger sales are slowing. So this thing could be a ticking time bomb. Right there, sales growth decelerate. Burger King parent restaurant said during its earnings commentary on Monday that there was a comparable sales slowdown on its plant-based Impossible Whopper. We did not see deceleration in comparable sales growth in U.S. sales from the third into the fourth quarter. Our core business continues to perform. That's a different thing. So anyway, there's a possibility that this could suffer one day from some kind of a black swan event. reading that article, it didn't read as bad as the headline. So anyway, from a technical perspective, this thing is just right now starting to get going, and looks like I have a target about 160 here. And this thing can move pretty quick, so if you want it, get it while the getting's good. I may jump on a little bit of this right here. Looks like we're just starting to break that high. 123.10. We're at 123.22. So yeah, we are starting to break that high right there. See how our order stuff looks. Not bad. Looking pretty good so far, holding up there at the highs. Yeah. Oh, I gotta get the damn trash out this morning. It's Tuesday. I don't think the wife took it out. So Beyond Meat doing pretty good right there. Looks like I just stopped on Square there. Square is still doing good. We do have a resistance point here. Right, we're pretty much right there. We're really close to it. Horizontal resistance going all the way back to 2018. And we've broken a long-term turnaround downward sloping trend line, which is good. And we're not behaving badly. Pausing at this resistance is good as long as we can get above it. If you look at the daily chart a little more closely, last time we were up here, which was back here in looks like July of last year, we did have a small base and then tried to rally through, and earnings gapped us down pretty big. We don't have earnings threat coming up. It looks like earnings is in about a week. So we could break through this, which would be really nice. But if we stall up here, obviously that's going to be a different situation. If we stall and then start to come right back down. So the prior earnings gap on Square was pretty neutral, actually. It doesn't look like there was much action at all. Even if it was to the upside here, your gap up was about less than 1%. So no gap on Square during the last earnings call, which isn't a bad thing. And the prior one was pretty big. Gap down about 12%. So 0%, 12%, and the next one gap down about 5%. But keep in mind, this is also during the correction. This gap was up. No, it was down. The gap was down 4%, but then closed up. So that was a very bullish day. Unfortunately, that ended up being the topping day of the whole move. So very interesting dichotomy here, for sure. So earnings is kind of a crapshoot generally. That's not a surprise. We pretty much all know that one. But earnings coming up in a week, and if we remain holding nicely up here, or I should say breaking out, it would be nice if we'd break out. It's a nice little, this is a perfect little consolidation for us to break out from. Just beautiful. And we're just look at how nice this Friday's candle closed. It's just chilling up here, just sitting there. Volumes a little bit elevated, but not really. And today we're sitting there poking with those highs too. So playing with the highs is good. Carvana bouncing out of lows. Mentioned this is buyable. Looks like we've extended up a little bit. Our volume's about almost half of Fridays, and we're only at half an hour into the trading day. So that's pretty good for Carvana. Already a fairly elevated volume day. You can see right there. And just a beautiful straight up extension for Carvana. This is in a buyable area. Restoration Hardware on a breakout. Again, the volume 40% of average, 40% above average volume for a breakout. I'm not sure if Restoration Hardware has this kind of DNA today. It's going to take a volume increase on a breakout from this intraday consolidation to maybe make that happen. All right, LK. Actually bouncing off pretty nicely. Talking about the coronavirus and shorting this. Remember that, Rob. Had a huge spike volume bottom here. Massive volume spike. Just the biggest it's ever have, I think. And that could be the bottom there for LK, bouncing off of that IPO breakout level 26 about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And then just slowly moving up from there. Doing not too bad this morning. Decent volumes. And that one could be maybe buyable. May take a little bit to get going though. CCC. Looks like a very, very small little base right here. Maybe trying to break out of it. BEP. Wow, this thing's non-freaking stop, dude. Look at this thing. Oh, earnings came out. Just non-stop. I don't know why I don't own that. ZTO, D-Dog. Getting a little better, Rob. D-Dog curling up a little bit. LVGO. Twitter, after a gap up earnings a week ago, maybe a little bit over a week ago, we talked about for like, I think about 10 seconds. So 4 days ago here, I remember talking about this is buyable coming back up through the bottom of the buyable gap up candle, and we're decently above that at this stage of the game, about 3.25%. So not too bad for Twitter if you got that. Twitter languishing generally though. It's been under consolidation for a very long time. This could be a very long-term turnaround play. If Twitter gets its shit together, you could see a huge run out of Twitter because it really hasn't had a massive run. We had a run out of the lows here from 20 up to about 50, and that was it. I mean, we really had an IPO run here very briefly for like 3 weeks, and other than that, and so there may be some pent-up demand if Twitter gets good, and then maybe Twitter will start going up. Hard to 100% say that it's going to do that, but there's a possibility there for that. Facebook. MongoDB doing pretty good. Breaking up out of its lows. Handle right there. Up pretty decently. Not really giving up anything. It's looking excellent. It's getting up towards all-time highs at 184. We're at 173. So it's kind of a little bit of a tough buy right now, although it is coming out of a tiny consolidation, or is trying to at least. Holding the 10-day moving average. Can't get mad at that. Netflix. Again, long-term turnaround play for Netflix right here if you guys want that. I think it's still within a buyable range, and it's just going to continue walking up, I think. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to get out of here. Market's doing pretty good. NASDAQ started out the day down a quarter. We've retraced some of that. We're down 0.17%. And, yeah, market's not doing bad. INMD? Whoa, just took a huge shit. We were doing fine, and then it just took a huge dump. So never mind the next leg up. I don't know what got up there. Not sure what happened there, but looked like it was doing fine and then just got dumped on. Okay, good thing I didn't jump on that. Wow. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, that hit me quick too. Roku, okay, down. Yeah, that's expected. Yeah, weird. I'm like, wait a minute, INMD was just at the top. How do I see it at the bottom? That's kind of out of the ordinary here. Yeah, once again, this space, Virgin Galactic, I'd like to get into this, but it's just super extended. Super extended. It's up like 50%, not 60%. Not that it can't go up more, but let's have a hard time jumping in right there. I was going to jump in Friday, but similar situation. It's extended. Crazy. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Have a good day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.